Hello friends, welcome to our second video lecture of unit number 2, that is organizational security. Myself Nikul Jaiswal, lecturer in computer engineering, Sri KG Polytechnic, Bharuch. So in the unit number 2 we have four major topics. First is password selection, second is people as a security tool, third is physical security, and fourth is password management. So in the previous lecture we have discussed the first major topic, password selection, and in that we have seen what is the use of password. So basically we use the password as an authentication mechanism. So we identify the authorized user and non-authorized user by using the username and password. And the next we have seen poor passwords. So there are several categories of the password that will be considered as a poor password. As for example, using your personal detail like first name, last name, date of birth will be considered as a poor password. So there are several categories by which the password can be considered as a poor password that we have already discussed in previous lecture. So in today's lecture, we will discuss various social engineering attack and some of the measures that need to be taken by the users. So first will be piggybacking. It is also called as a tailgating. Second is shoulder surfing, and third is dumpster diving. So piggybacking, shoulder surfing, and dumpster diving are the social engineering attack that can be performed to gain useful information about the organization from the authorized users. And next we will discuss the unauthorized hardware and software that are installed by the authorized user, that is basically not allowed by the organization. And next will be the physical access by non-employees. So we will discuss one scenario in the physical access by non-employee topic. So let's start with the first topic, that is piggybacking. So piggybacking is one type of social engineering attack. So we all know that people are very oftenly very hurry and will frequently not follow any good practices that has been defined by the organization. So every organization will have some security practices that need to be followed by the users, and many times the users are unintentionally break that security practices. So what the piggybacking is, let's discuss one small example. Let's suppose in any organization there is one strong room, and to access that room we need a password. So let's suppose an authorized user enter the password, open the doors, and enter into the that confidential strong room. Now before the door get closed, the unauthorized person will also get through that door without entering a security password. So this is how unauthorized person can gain access to a strong room in the organization. So this type of situation will be called as a piggybacking or tailgating. So one of the authorized user entering in secure room, and behind that person the unauthorized user will also get into the room before the door closes. So this type of situation will be called as a piggybacking. So normally the piggybacking is related to social engineering attack. So both let's discuss the topics. The first is, so piggybacking refers to a situation where an unauthorized party gain access to some system in connection with the authorized party. So when the authorized party enters into the room, and behind him the unauthorized party will also gain the access to that room. So this type of situation will be called as a piggybacking. So this can happen in several ways, including piggybacking on public wireless networks and piggybacking into a password protected system. And one primary type of piggybacking deals with a user session. If an authorized user enter a password and initialize the use session and then step away from the workstation, an authorized party can get access. So this is the Good example of piggybacking. Let's suppose one authorized user sit on the computer and enter the username and password, and due to some emergency work, he step away from that workstation and go to another place, and the unauthorized party will sit on that computer and gain the authorized access to that machine. So that is the also example of piggybacking. So in a physical world, it is similar to process of one person using a transit card to get through a turnstile and another person slipping in behind them to use the same ticket that we have discussed uh, previously. As an example of strong room, let's suppose we have a strong room and we need a ID to open the strong room, and when the authorized person enter the ID, and when before the gate door get closed, the unauthorized person will also enter into the room. So this is the piggybacking. Next is shoulder surfing. So shoulder surfing is also one type of social engineering attack. So by using the shoulder surfing, we can get many confidential information. So shoulder surfing is using a direct observation technique such as looking over someone's shoulder to get information. Now let's suppose you are entering your user ID and password in banking online banking application, and someone is looking through your shoulder and try to get the user ID and password that you are typing in application banking application. So this type of attack will be called as a shoulder surfing. So shoulder surfing is an effective way to get information in crowded places because it's relatively easy to stand next to someone and watch as they fill out a form, enter a PIN number at an ATM machine, or use a calling card at a public pay phone. Shoulder surfing can also be done long distance with the aid of binocular or other vision enhancing device. So we can use the vision enhancing device also to do the shoulder surfing attack. So this is also social engineering attack. So to prevent shoulder surfing, experts recommend that you shield the paperwork or your keypad from view by using your body or cupping your hand. So you should hide your papers, or you should hide the keypad when you are entering any user ID password or ATM pin. So this will be called as a shoulder surfing. Next is the dumpster diving. So many user finds very difficult to remember the user ID and password. So it may be possible that many users have multiple accounts and it will be very hard for them to uh, remember the password. So what they will do is they will write it down a user ID and password somewhere uh, near to their desk or in the diary or on paper. Clear. And when the user what the user will do, it will when the after getting the authorized access to that system, they will throw the user ID password paper on the dustbin. So dumpster diving is a technique to get the confidential information from looking to the trashes of the authorized user. So in the IT world, dumpster diving refers to using various methods to get information about the technology user. So information like user ID and password to get the authorized access to computer systems. So in general, dumpster diving involves searching through trash or garbage looking for something useful. So this is often done to uncover the useful information that may help an individual get access to a particular network. So while the term can literally refer to looking through trash, it is used more often in the context of any method. So we can use the any method uh, of the dumpster diving to identify the confidential information like user ID and password, by which a hacker might look for information about a computer network. So this was all about the dumpster diving. Now next is the unauthorized hardware and software. So many of the user of the organization will use the unauthorized hardware and software to their workstation. Let's suppose any user uses the YouTube downloader, third-party YouTube downloader to download the videos from organizations in internet. Then they may also use the pen drives to transfer the confidential information. So many of the organization have the policy to do not install unauthorized software or do not use the unauthorized hardware. But most of the user install the unauthorized hardware and software to organization's computer network, and that may lead to a large attack on the organizations. So on average, one of four employees has installed software on their business computer that was not approved by the IT department of the organization. So every organization's IT department have certain policies regarding the uh, installation of hardware and software. So they will not allow the unauthorized hardware and software to be installed in the organization's machine. But on an average, one out of four employee has installed software on their business computer that was not approved by the IT department. So this is not necessarily a malicious action oftentimes, but the employee himself is unaware that this action can cause a considerable damage to the company. So we have already seen the various malicious code that can break your uh, computer security or information security. So many times the user of a organization's computer will not aware of this malicious codes or activities. The solution is to introduce professional software portfolio management, where the entire software environment is regularly analyzed regarding specific software information to identify programs carrying a risk. So this is the better solution. So every organization will have some IT policy IT policy and analysis of the software that has been installed in business computers. Unauthorized software can also be a backdoors or trapdoors. So this was all about the unauthorized hardware and software. Now next is the physical access by non-employee. So it may be possible that non-employee of the organization can get the access of the physical computers, and when they get the physical access to a computer system, they can also theft various confidential information that has been stored in organization's computer. So this is one scenario. So you can imagine this scenario, and you can also identify you can also understand that what damage that can be caused by the physical access by non-employee. So this is the very good example. So at your company, no one is around in the middle of the night to hear the sound of breaking the glass and quick steps. So someone is entering in your organization by breaking the glass. So in the morning, the first employee appears at work and calls the police after spotting the mess. So employee spot the mess and he called the police. According to police, it was a random act of vandalism. So according to police, it is the normally random act by the theft or the any unauthorized person. 2 weeks later, the president of the company will convey a meeting. It turns out that the local newspaper is running a story about your product. So local newspaper is running a story about the product that will be developed by that particular company, and has just revealed that the project has gone million of dollar over budget. It turns out that a random act of vandalism that has been done in your organization before 2 weeks was really an act of industrial espionage. The intruder had attacked a bootable distribution of Linux operating system and copied the file that belongs to a victim company. So, random act was not actually a random act, but the attacker step into a organization, get physical access to a computer, and it theft all the confidential file about that product, and it sell that information to another organization. So this type of situation may also arise in organization. So if any unauthorized user get physical access to organization's computer, it can damage your information, or it can theft the confidential information or very useful information from your computer. So physical security is also important part of our computer security.